Hi friends, I just finished designing and building my first synth module, and I wanted to show it to everybody that's interested. This is the Rhythm Quantizer. The idea for this module came from Ableton Live. I really love the way that loops start and stop on the beat on Ableton Live when you trigger them, and I found that that's really useful when playing live in a band. I can play a keyboard part on stage, but then I can also trigger backing loops, and they'll come in and out at the right times, so I don't have to stress about synchronizing all of those things all at once. And I wanted that same behavior and that same ability with my modular gear. The way this works is signals come in here on the left, and then you can use this big button to queue up signals to go back out on the right. There are two modes to the module. There's the single mode and the toggle mode. And in single mode, the button press will queue up just one note, and then that cue turns back off. And in toggle mode, the button press toggles the cue itself. So when you push that once, it'll let everything through after that. And when you push it again, that cue is now off and nothing gets through. So those are two different ways to use it. Now, you can get kind of a similar effect to this module using other solutions. You can probably already think of like switched molts or other things like that. But I think there are two reasons why I'm really excited about this module. The first one is playability. I love having this big button that I can mash when I'm on stage. And that's especially nice when I'm multitasking. If I'm playing a live instrument or if I'm live patching, I don't want to have to reach in and kind of clumsily change a switch. It's much easier to just mash a button. The other reason why I like it is because since this is digital, it's debouncing the signal that's going through it. And so there's no jitter when the state changes. And that's really important for when you're passing clocks through and when you're trying to run sequencers, because if you're switching a mult on and off, that little bit of signal jitter that gets created can trigger some unknown number of pulses that moves your sequence out of where you expected it to be. And so it's not starting on that first thing that you've dialed in, it's starting randomly on 2 or 3 or 4 or somewhere. So for those two reasons, I'm really excited about having this quantizer as part of my rack. I'll be able to get a lot of usage out of it when I'm playing live. So if we turn this module around, you can see how I built it. At the heart of the module is this teensy 3.2 microcontroller. And if you've heard of Arduino, this is pretty similar. I wrote about 100 lines of code and put it on the board. And it's pretty simple code too. It's not really doing digital signal processing. It's actually just managing state changes, like when you press the button or when you flip the switch. So it's really just keeping track of Boolean values. I started by prototyping it on a breadboard, and then I moved it to these proto boards from Auto's DIY. I was a backer in their Indiegogo campaign a while back, and I've been waiting for a project that I could build into their boards. And so when I thought of this, I was excited because I thought it was a good fit. To those of you that do have a background in electronics, you might be thinking, putting a whole teensy back here is way overkill for how simple the logic is. And that's fair, but my background really is in software rather than in hardware. And so I thought it would be a good way to dip my toes into this. And it also lets me easily change the firmware if I'm interested in trying something different with the logic. And it just gets me started. So I'm excited about that. It definitely isn't perfect in terms of the soldering. Made some funny mistakes. I actually put the wires that drive the LEDs in the wrong pins relative to where they were in the breadboard. And so instead of trying to desolder them and put them in the right place, I just changed the pin numbers in my teensy code and flashed that update to the board, and everything worked great. So I guess that's another reason why changing something in software is cheaper than changing it in hardware if you make a mistake. So kind of fun. So this is the Rhythm Quantizer. I think it was a great first module for me to attempt. I learned a ton of things in the process, and I'm excited to try some more things. Even for this module, I've got some other ideas for the digital logic, maybe ways I could change it. For example, it would be really cool to have a gate mode where the output signal is just a very long gate that goes high or goes low, but then the timing for when it goes high or low is controlled by clock pulses that are coming in, so that you can rhythmically start or stop some long note or some long thing. I think that could be really useful in a rig. To those of you that are interested in starting into synth DIY, but maybe haven't done it just yet, I would say be brave, give it a try. There are a lot of really awesome kits by manufacturers these days, that include all of the components, include the circuit boards and the faceplates, and all you have to do is follow their instructions. And I've done several of those, and that has been a really good way to start into all of this. And I've learned some good things in the process of doing that, and that made me feel bold enough that I could attempt actually designing something for myself. So maybe go that route, build some kits, and then try designing something. I'm excited to see what else I can build. I've got some ideas, and so I'm excited to start into that. Thanks for watching.